Jumping back into the action now on the Chip Shot Football Podcast and looking now that we are officially through the first half of the season, we went back and this seems like the perfect time to give our updated mid-season awards because we did it at the beginning of the year and I felt pretty confident about it, but now looking through my picks now, I'm pretty sure I have a lot of different looking picks that I made at the beginning of the season to where we are right now. And I might have some surprises in here for you guys just based on some of the picks I've made. You know, not too crazy, but certainly some that aren't the usual names. So starting off with, I think, the easiest award to give out, the Offensive Rookie of the Year in 2024, I think pretty clearly is going to be Jaden Daniels. You know, there was a chance for Malik Neighbors, the way he was playing a little bit, but he's sort of slowed down. Obviously, I picked Caleb Williams originally, but, he hasn't been bad, but just, the level that Jaden's at right now, there's some whispers in there for MVP, which are a little bit overblown. That's a bit of an overreaction, but it just goes to show the kind of season that Jaden's had, the kind of impact he's made to that organization just right away. Everyone that was in that building, said it from the start of training camp, through training camp, and once he was named the starter, and just seems like every game he's gotten better and really has put his stamp on this Washington offense, but also making an impression around the NFL against all these pretty good teams. Having the Commanders in first place right now is not anything to be taken lightly or for granted, especially how this organization has been performing over the last few years. So for them to nail everything in the offseason, bring in a new coach, new offensive coordinator, new president a couple years ago, and new general manager, just everything that the Commanders have done, the final piece was Jaden Daniels. And for them to get it this correct and have it be already paying off, I think he's clearly the Offensive Rookie of the Year. And, unless he falls off or anything like that, which I don't really see happening. So that one's the easiest one to give out, in my opinion. Also, a close second is Offensive Player of the Year, just in general. I went with Derrick Henry. I feel like he's going to break the rushing record. It's not based on him. It's based on the Ravens. But if the Ravens, are smart about it, right, or just, use common sense, having Derrick run the ball to the pace that he has been doing right now is a little bit ridiculous. Maybe he'll slow down a little bit, but even still, I think he is the focal point of this offense. I think he should be continued to use the way that he has been in the first couple weeks there, against the Cowboys and against the Bucks. These games where he just went absolutely insane. That's the identity, the main weapon for this Baltimore Ravens team, and he can be on a historical pace. He is on a historical pace right now, and I think he is just as deserving as anybody to win this award. It's night and day, really, with this Baltimore Ravens offense, where from what we saw last year when they were really good running the ball, it's no comparison to what they have right now with Derrick and Lamar back there, and just the plethora of different ways they could use those two guys and just keep defenses guessing. It's a nightmare. And the fact that they actually brought him in to pair him with Lamar is remarkable. And also, I just think that no addition this offseason has made a bigger impact than Derrick Henry. And, you could argue Kirk or I'm sure there's others I'm forgetting. Saquon, obviously another one. But for Derrick to be at this historical pace, and if the Ravens, can push for a top 3, top 2 seed in the conference, and he'll certainly win it, I believe. I think he's done great through the first half of the year. There's a whole other half left, right, obviously, but I think he has certainly blown everyone's expectations out of the water. So I picked him for Offensive Player of the Year. Then we'll go to Defensive Rookie of the Year here. I picked Jared Verse. I like what Jared Verse is doing, the outside linebacker, defensive end, whatever you'd like to call it, for the Los Angeles Rams. I don't think anyone's looked more settled in or just more, like, what's the word I'm looking for? When I see him play, I don't think he looks like a rookie. Like, the way he gets off, the moves he's using to get around tackles, the kind of impact and pressure he's applying to other quarterbacks, he does not look like a rookie, in my opinion. And I think for a lot of people who don't really know or are Rams fans or anything like that, if you try to point out and say which one of these guys is a rookie, I don't think they would point to Jared Verse. He's already been making an impact on that defensive line, especially when they lose guys, over the years like Von Miller, Aaron Donald, retiring. They brought in guys like Kobe Turner, Byron Young, Braden Fisk is another rookie from Florida State University, also like Jared Verse, that has made a big impact. But I think Jared being picked in the first round, not really being talked about too much, just because the whole thing around the draft was the quarterbacks being picked and the trades that we saw. The defensive side of the ball got ignored a little bit, if not for Layatu Latu, Dallas Turner being picked, and then also Jared Verse. He wasn't really hyped up as much as everybody else, but he's proven to be right away exactly what they've been looking for, getting that edge pressure, which you absolutely need if you're going to be a contender. He's been one of their standouts just in general, not just out of all the rookies, but just in general on the Rams defense. And he leads all defensive rookies with 7 tackles for loss. He's tied for first in sacks for all rookies with 2.5 with Ejarian Cooper for the Green Bay Packers. So I like what Jared Verse has been doing. I think he is clearly one of the main favorites. If I were to pick somebody else, Layatu Latu would be in there. Casimir Lassiter, I'm pretty sure that's his first name, the cornerback for the Texans. He's also been playing very well. So, there are some guys to choose from that have been going unnoticed, but I would give my pick to Jared Verse for sure. Then, looking at these picks I have here, we'll go to Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year, I have Dan Quinn. Much like the reasons I gave for Jaden Daniels, I think Dan Quinn, to not diminish what he's been able to do also, because Jaden Daniels, just the talent, the kind of player that he is, the kind of person to just come in and have the success that he has is one thing, but being paired up with a coach like Dan Quinn, everybody talks about how relatable and, just great of a coach he is on a personal level. To have this other opportunity now to become a head coach again with a organization that not a lot of people put too much stock into, and now have them near the top of the NFC just in general, is definitely something that merits this award. Just from what we saw last year with Washington, to make this sort of impact just from one year to the next, I think just speaks for itself. And if Washington, continue to go like this, if they win their division especially, it will certainly go to him. There are some other candidates you can choose from, Raheem Morris. I'm pretty sure I picked him to win. Or I actually might have gone with Dan Quinn. But regardless of that, Raheem Morris is one that I think wouldn't be a bad shout. Sean McVay, if they could come back from their bad start and win the division, he could have a really good case. And also Mike Tomlin. I heard Andrew Hawkins mention it today on ESPN, and I got to think about it. I'm like, you know what? Like, why can't Mike Tomlin win the Coach of the Year, right? He has been the example of consistency, the 2 quarterback situation and how tricky it could have ended up being. And for him to handle it perfectly, have Justin and Russ look like the best of friends, and just have this team at 6-2, definitely merits an award. But I think overall, I feel like the Commanders are going to win their division, so I think that's definitely going to be enough for Dan Quinn to win the Coach of the Award a year, certainly, along with Jaden Daniels, to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. So I'll go with Dan Quinn. Then we get into some of the heavy hitters, right? We're going to go to the Comeback Player of the Year. For my pick, I had Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk, leading the division so far, we've seen him have some crazy performances, like the game this past week against the Bucs, the first time against the Buccaneers. He's led game-winning drives like he has against the Eagles. And most importantly, I think we've just seen him take the games of Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Darnell Mooney looks like he's like a first-round receiver or something like that. Or just Darnell Mooney's playing crazy right now. And I think it has a lot to do with Kirk and the abilities he's brought, opening up this offense and having no limitations to this offense because of how good of a quarterback Kirk is. And just Atlanta overall kind of flipping to a new chapter with a experienced, legitimate quarterback, all their young talent now, Kirk and Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson, and the job they've done as well over the offseason, putting themselves on the map as being a pretty challenging NFC team, I think certainly Kirk has put himself up there as one of the favorites for this award, along with Sam Darnold, you could say, but, just recently they've lost a couple of games, so I think Kirk overall right now would be my pick, just on how quickly he's adapted to the Atlanta culture with some of the things we've seen on social media. It's great, and I think Kirk definitely has a great chance to win this award. Then the second to last one here, the Defensive Player of the Year. I gave it to Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney for the Green Bay Packers, the safety that the Packers signed this offseason. He leads the NFL right now in interceptions, and I don't think he's being talked about enough, honestly. To have 6 interceptions already and kind of police everything back there for the Packers, this Packers defense that leads the NFL in takeaways. I think Xavier, for a guy, just come into a new scenario, new team, new everything, and be already one of the guys that this defense looks to, an impact player, like TJ Watt punching balls out, like Jesse Bates being everywhere on the field, like, Myles Garrett, Dexter Lawrence also. I think Xavier is creating a lot of splash plays and a lot of plays just coverage-wise and going up and tackling in the box and things like that. And, you look at that, and it might go unnoticed to a lot of people, but then you think about what this team would look like if Xavier wasn't there, and I think this defense would look a lot different, and it wouldn't look as solid with him leading everything in the backfield right now. So this one I wanted to switch it up a little bit because, I originally picked TJ, and I think he has as good a chance as anybody if he just goes on a run here, but, that's a safe pick. Dexter Lawrence leads the NFL right now in sacks, but I feel like with the success of the Giants, I feel like that could hurt his chances a little bit. Chris Jones is just like the Chiefs are undefeated. You can make a case for them to be the best team in the NFL, so I feel like that one's just like a gimme. Chris Jones is a fantastic player, but I feel like he hasn't garnered the big takeover performances like Xavier with the interceptions, like TJ forcing fumbles and things like that, like Dexter just being a menace. I think TJ or Xavier McKinney's my pick, but Dexter, TJ, those guys could also be in there as well. And now MVP, the big one. I had Jordan Love in there originally, but I haven't loved all the turnovers I've been seeing, so I've switched over to Josh Allen. A personal choice for me because I think it's really close with Lamar. And also Jared Goff is in there as well. Those are probably the top 3. Patrick is always a safe option, but I don't think he's had that good of a year just for his standards alone. So anyone from Josh, Lamar, or Goff, I wouldn't be surprised. But I would like to see Josh Allen win it. I think he definitely deserves it too. Jaden Daniels is also a fun idea, but he's definitely not there yet. But I'd like to see Josh win. He is everything for this Bills team, and if you're talking about value that you bring to a team, this Bills team would be nowhere near where they are without Josh Allen. Like Lamar in Buffalo also, so I think those guys, it's very interchangeable between Lamar and Josh, but for right now, Josh Allen and Justin Herbert are really the only quarterbacks in the NFL right now to only throw 1 interception, and these are NFL starters, right? Not just backups that have played like a game or two. Josh has played in every single game. Justin has played in every single game, maybe except one. But nonetheless, they are, being very careful with the football, and that is super important, obviously. But Lamar does also lead with a lot of the statistical, categories, and the fact that the Ravens destroyed the Bills also, I'd imagine, wouldn't help Josh Allen's case too much, but I'm assuming this will come down to seeding. Also, you could also look at it, Lamar. Josh Allen didn't get a Derrick Henry this offseason. He just got Amari Cooper, but I would say that Lamar, not to diminish him, because I think he also does deserve it, honestly. Lamar, I think, certainly has a lot more help around him, where the story around Josh this year was him elevating this team, and I think he's done a great job of doing that by elevating his own play, but also just being more smart with the football, it seems like he's a lot more settled. Before, it seems like he was frantic, very spontaneous. Now it feels like it's very methodical, very thought out, and he has everything that you'd want in a quarterback. So I'd like Josh Allen to see win MVP. I think he has certainly deserved it over the last couple of seasons. So those are all the picks. Those are all the updated NFL Honors Awards that we have gone through that I think are pretty accurate through the first half of the year. And we'll see if I'm right when the regular season ends. But for right now, we're going to move on to the last couple subjects here. We have a discussion that I wanted to bring up because I started thinking about it. The similarities and the comparisons between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. New environment, veteran quarterbacks expected to come in and be the final piece to everything. One has been pretty successful so far, while the other one hasn't really lived up to the expectations. Why that is, we discuss that when we return after this break.